Greetings and welcome to my channel, Act 2 Life After 50. My name is Brene and I focus on content that is of interest to the mature woman like myself. That's anything over 50, 40, whatever. Today I have a very interesting subject. It is I called it Don't Get Erased. So as you might know, there's a whole lot going on in our society today. This is 2025. And the current administration has had a stated goal of eliminating all DEI programs, formerly affirmative action, but DEI, of course, stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion, meaning big tent, let everybody in. So all of those programs have been terminated at the federal government level and on downstream. But actually, there is a bigger agenda at foot. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So before we get into it, I'd like to ask that you share this particular video. I always ask you to share. All the content people on YouTube and Instagram and all the places ask you to share, follow, subscribe, and all of that. But this one in particular, because I believe it is a very important message, and there are some actual practical steps that you can follow if you are so inclined to do so. So don't get erased. Now, there is a bigger goal at foot, and that really is to eliminate from the public record and our history in America the contributions of people of color and women. Now you would say, Brene, you must be crazy. How can anybody do that? Well, it actually has already begun. As you might know, a few weeks ago on the Department of Defense website, all of the mentions of the contributions of women to the military were erased, gone. No big fanfare, poof, it's gone. Someone found out, contacted their Congress people. They made a big stink about it. They put it all in. Last week, someone, I guess, went to the website for Jackie Robinson, who was, as you know, the first African American to break the color barrier for the Professional Baseball League. But he also served in the United States military. Someone or people went to his webpage on Department of Defense, poof, it was gone. So a big stink got made about that. They put it back up. Well, it's just that easy. Before you know it, all mention of our contributions, women and people of color, will be gone from the public record. Just like it was back in the 50s, I'm old enough to remember the 60s and 50s, where there was no mention of contributions at all of Black people. I remember being in elementary school and we had one little chapter, I think in the 4th grade, about slavery, and it was a few pages, no pictures. Actually, there were just drawings of, pictures of things, and there really was no substantial education related to the contribution of people of color, or women for that fact. So it's upon us now. So what can we do about that? Do we cry about it? Do we whine about it? Do we get mad about it? Or do we get busy about it? And if you know me, you know I'm about some action. Now, I do have a very strong political perspective and convictions. But this is not about that. This is way bigger than individual political parties, who you voted for. This is a bigger issue that all women and people of color should be paying attention to. So, what can we do? I have 2 areas that I want to address in the video today. This is going to be 2 parts, actually. The first part of the video is going to be on preserving your family heritage. The history of your own personal family. The second one is going to be preserving the history of our culture. That's going to be on my second video. So why do you say in this discussion is your own personal family history important? Well, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you a little story. It's actually happened. A couple of weeks ago, my grandnephew, who lives in Utah, he's of mixed race, but he was supposed to do an assignment on his ancestry and include the crest of his family, which is a European symbol of your family lineage. And he went to look for the crest that related to our last name, and all he found was white slave owners. That is what he found on the internet. So he told his teacher that, and his teacher said, well, let their history be your history. And that, in her opinion, he should just write about the slave owners that owned our ancestors. His mother was appalled. His father was appalled. And the mother wrote an email to the teacher. But his mother happened to know that I was our kind of family historian, and I'm kind of into lineage and ancestry, and just got back from Africa a few months ago. So she contacted me, and I was able, because of the years I've spent gathering information about our ancestors, I was able to give him way more than he needed. Probably more than most of the other students in his class, I would imagine. But that's the kind of thing that can happen. If you don't know your history, someone can just assign slavery to us as our only contribution, as our only existence. And that simply is not true. So what can we do? There's some specific things that I have done that I would offer for you to consider if you are a woman or a person of color. First thing is to be your family historian. Don't put it off on someone else. Don't think somebody else is going to take down the information. You take it upon yourself to be your family historian. Document your family tree. How would you do that? Number one, you want to talk to any elders that you still have with us, or you might be the elders in your family. So you want to think back on all of the stories that you knew about the people that came before you, grandparents, great grandparents. Did they serve in the military? Were they school teachers? Did they own businesses? Did they own farms? Just what did they do? And you want to be the one to document that. Get it down on paper. The next thing you might want to do in terms of that family tree is to use online resources. I have used a bunch of resources. Ancestry.com is a very comprehensive resource, and it has lots of information tied to the census record. And that is very important for us because African American people were not documented during slavery as individual people with names and so forth and so on. But even if they were born into slavery after the Civil War, the first census was 1870, and Black people were able to be counted in that census with their name, their street that they lived on, the county they lived in, where their parents were born. There's a lot of information on that census record from 1870. The oldest ancestor that I was able to track was born in 1795. Because he lived to be counted in the 1870 census. So there's a lot of information that you can gather to fill in your family tree. The other thing that you can do is get a DNA test. I did the DNA test, and I did the African history. I did the Ancestry.com. I was even able to find the tribe that my ancestors on my mother's side hailed from. So there's a lot of information that you can get online. Get that information down on paper. And let me tell you why on paper is so important and not just digital things, because all it takes is one hacker or one government swipe of the pen to press a button, and everything that is digitally documented about your family, poof, there it goes again, it's gone. I had a situation that is similar to this with my Yahoo account. I've been using Yahoo, 20 years or something, however long it's been around, as my email account. So everybody that I send emails to, I had documentation. You put in the first couple of letters, their email pops up. So it makes it very easy to just continue to do emails. Well, they did an update. That feature is gone. All my contacts are gone. I cannot figure out how to get it back. So now and not only that, when I put contacts in again or new contacts, it doesn't save that feature anymore. Now, I don't know if it's just my account or yours, but I've tried to figure out how to make it go back to the way it was. Can't figure it out, can't do it. That is an example of all it takes is for someone to decide that everything digital is gone. You don't want that to be the case. Another thing that you can do is family albums. We all take pictures. Everywhere we go, we got pictures, pictures, pictures. But where are they? Mostly in your digital file, on your phone. We barely do hard copies of pictures anymore. Well, what happens if somebody just decides with a swipe of the pen, all those digital pictures are gone and your family no longer has those? So I strongly encourage you, I'm gonna show you something right quick. Family albums. I have a ton of them. I've been doing this for years, but get those pictures. You don't have to make it a big project. You can make it a family project. Get those pictures, put them in an album, write out what year, who was there, what were we doing. Create your own family legacy library so that you can pass that down to generations. Don't just do what we used to do, which is have a bunch of pictures in a box and nobody knows what they're for, what the story is behind them, who the people are, anything like that. And there's a great resource called Free Prints. It's an app. You download the app. You just upload your pictures. They will send you prints. I think the size is 5x7, I think. No, that's too big. 3x5 for free. All you have to do is pay the shipping. If you want larger pictures, portrait pictures, anything like that, you have to pay for that. But I do that whenever I go to an event or something. I have some pictures done. I use the free print app, get my pictures, put them in the album, and then you can actually have a visual of your family members. I have pictures of my grandmother when she was a child. My grandmother was born in 1906, so I have pictures of her that long ago. So these are some simple things that you can do to preserve your family history. Don't leave it up to someone else. Don't have your great-grandchild to go into a class and have a teacher tell them to use a slave owner's ancestry and history for their own. We can do better than that. I encourage you to do that. The last thing I would suggest, remember, I'm going to do a part 2, and this is going to be how we preserve our cultural history. I just got back from West Africa. I went and took 10 of my friends and associates to Ghana. It was life-changing. We went to the slave dungeons to see the places that our ancestors were held until they were shipped across the ocean. We saw a lot of other village things where kente cloth was made by hand, by people weaving at, weaving wheels. It really helped me to have a bigger appreciation for my ancestors and where I come from. I encourage anyone, and it's really not that expensive. I'm going to take another trip in a year or two. It's really not expensive. We go everywhere we want to go. We go to Las Vegas. It seems like, everybody's going to Las Vegas, going down to Florida, Dubai, every other place. But go and see the land that our ancestors last set foot on before they came to this country, to the islands, and our lineage began. So those are the things that you can actually do yourself. Don't cost a lot of money. It costs time, so that you can preserve your family history. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't remember, like, share, follow, but really get this video out. It's a big deal. It's never too late. Don't let them just go poof and our ancestors are gone. Bye.